For years, nerd culture has been just that, nerdy. Over the past few years, nerd culture has taken over the planet. They're in our bookshops, our films, they're even on TV now. Us mainstream folk just can't escape. I think it's fair to say that nerd culture is here to stay. Let's take a step back. What is a nerd? What even is mainstream culture? What is nerd culture? Let's find out. First, we must look back to the roots of nerd culture, all the way back in 1934, when National Allied Publications were published / founded. Never heard of them? I hadn't. It was DC, you know, the guys that came up with the super bloke and the bat guy, you know, the dark and I'm bat guy. You know the one. While researching this documentary, I found out that Superman had been around since 1938. That's like 75 years old. I did not know that at all. More recently, Superman was rated as one of the top superheroes in comic books by IGN. I don't know whether this is true, I'm just going to go with it. So why is this guy so popular? I went to some nerds to find out. Let's start with the big question, okay. Marvel or DC?
Marvel, 100%.
Well, I never really grew up with DC as a kid, so I guess Marvel Comics, basically.
Do you have a favourite character?
Deadpool now.
Okay.
That trumps all of the others.
Let's see, well, not really deeply versed in Marvel Comics, but I guess my favourite is Spider-Man.
How big of an impact would you say comics have on culture?
Recently, I think comics have had a huge impact on pop culture, because, let's just face it, in the 40s, comics were cheesy as all
I'd say quite a big impact, yeah.
Why?
Because, like, I don't know, I think they probably, this is going to sound really, like, sexist, but they appeal more to boys than to girls. And it gives something for boys to, like, aspire to be. Yeah.
It's clear people like DC, but let's not forget, they're not the only comic book companies out there. Marvel are by far the most popular comic book publisher in today's market. They have their own films now, their own TV shows, but let's not forget their roots. They started out in 1939 as Timely Comics, and all in good time, they became Marvel. Marvel have had much greater success in the last few years with all their films, which in the past DC have won with their Dark Knight trilogy and their Batman and Robin. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Marvel's business is here to stay. In 2005, Marvel's big cheese, Kevin Feige, realised that they could produce films that all combined in one big cinematic universe. This would eventually come together in the film The Avengers. The plan was set, and fast forward to 2008, Iron Man was released to huge audiences. It was an instant hit, and audiences around the world loved it. This was when people started to take notice of Marvel's film franchise, and ever since then they've produced a film a year and have been very, very popular. It's fair to say, slowly but surely, comic book films were taking over mainstream media, and especially in Hollywood. The scriptwriter absolutely hates me and has decided that it would be a fun idea for me to list out every film they've ever made. Bastards. Here we go. There was Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America The First Avengers, The Avengers, Iron Man 3, Thor, The Dark World, Captain America The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man. Done. Wait, what? There's more? Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War 1 and 2, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and Wasp, The Inhumans, and these films aren't even made yet. I hope you're happy. Here's some people talking about these films, because quite frankly, I can't be bothered. How many of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films have you seen?
Not enough.
Pretty much all of them except Iron Man 3, I believe. Yeah, I've pretty much seen almost everything except for the rest of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter.
Do you have a favourite Marvel film?
Deadpool, again, amazing. Oh, so good.
I guess my personal favourite would have to be Captain America The Winter Soldier.
Why do you think comic book films have become so popular recently?
I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the MCU, is not the main reason why nerd culture is as popular as it is right now. I think it's one of the many reasons why it's becoming more popular recently. I think it's because many graphic novels and comics are starting to take doing a much more serious approach, are becoming a bit more streamlined to suit modern audiences, but also to suit non-comic book readers, and also the fact that the MCU is a bit more accessible to non-comic book readers who might be interested in one particular superhero. Then they can just pick and choose what they want to watch.
That you don't watch one and think you've seen them all.
But they have become definitely more popular now, haven't they? But I don't know why, because I don't know. Just because they're so cool.
According to my sources, DC also have a cinematic universe consisting of just the one film. And apparently it wasn't very good. But we can't judge, they only have one film. I'm sure their future films are going to be just as good. However, Batman and Robin. By what we've covered so far, it seems that the more popular something is, the more mainstream it becomes. Clearly there's something in these films to like, otherwise people wouldn't go and see them. In the last few years, fandoms have become a huge thing. A fandom, courtesy of the Urban Dictionary, is, and I quote, a cult that will destroy your life. Fabulous. Fandoms have sprouted up all over the place, in all walks of media, films, TV, even book clubs have become wildly nerdy. TV shows have become a more and more prominent member of the nerd culture club. Everyone loves their own shows, constantly wishing for a crossover. That will never happen because, let's face it, Sherlock and Doctor Who, never going to happen, sorry. To find out more about this phenomenon, I went and asked, because quite honestly, I'm confused as much as you are. Do you have a favourite TV show?
I have several.
Enlighten me.
Breaking Bad comes top of the pops.
Uh-huh.
Then I like really girly ones, like Pretty Little Liars. Really girly stuff, like there's some really girly ones but I'm too embarrassed to say.
People within a fandom will defend their show, and there is little to nothing you can say to change their mind. Like, seriously, these guys do not budge. Through my research, the biggest and the loudest fandom has got to be either Doctor Who or Sherlock. They're everywhere. Possibly Supernatural is a big player as well, but quite often they just get merged together and they end up being called Super Who-lock. What? Doctor Who fans call themselves Whovians, whatever that is, and Sherlock fans have nothing and neither do Supernatural. Another big fandom online has got to be Harry Potter. It's one of the biggest film franchises of all time, and it's also a very, 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 very good book series. I have actually read it, I'm not making this up.
Harry, confront your fate.
He's after you, Mr. Potter.
Bring him to me.
Yes! On July 15,
The boy must die.
You really don't stand a chance. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, rated PG-13, in theaters and IMAX 3D.
The films from Harry Potter have sprouted a huge following, and they've even earned over $7 billion US. Billion. Like, that's not even like a small number. That's huge. Harry Potter is one of the biggest fan bases around. The last film was released in 2011, that was nearly 5 years ago, and fans still visit the sets and even the theme parks. Fans even still discuss Quidditch and Dementors in their own little mothers' meetings. I must admit, I'm actually a big fan of Harry Potter and that whole wizarding world, so I can't slag it off too much. However, that wouldn't be funny, would it? Shall we move on? American TV show The Big Bang Theory is a great example of how nerd culture is taking over our TVs. The group have been through a lot since the show first started. I mean, they got stranded while getting dressed up as Star Trek characters, so it can't be that good for them. They've even gotten high while stargazing. Even one of them got his man tube stuck in a robot.
Oh, yeah, just like a real hand.
You slipped and fell into a robot hand.
Yes.
The Big Bang Theory is pretty much a prime example of how nerds are taking over the world. The show is about nerds in nerdy situations, but during its 6th season, it's still picking up 20 million views. People seriously care about this show.
Oh, no! Oh, no! Make way for the fastest man alive! Oh, no! See, this is why I wanted to have a costume meeting.
Have you ever seen an episode of Big Bang Theory?
I've seen a few, but that was like years ago. Not recently.
I've only ever seen like a couple of episodes.
Would you say, aside from its humour, it is an accurate depiction of nerds?
Yes, 100%.
I haven't seen a lot of Big Bang Theory, so I can't really answer that question.
Because they literally just sum it up so perfectly, like Sheldon.
But as a depiction of nerd culture, I think it's alright.
Why is the show so popular?
Why are you asking me this question? I don't know. I have no clue.
Everyone loves a good nerd.
Go and ask the executives at Warner Brothers why the show's so damn popular.
No, but really though, I don't know. It's just funny, nerdy, relatable.
Through these nerds, people see what being a nerd is actually like, and actually, if you think about the 20 million views, it seems pretty popular to me. It's clear that the show is influencing people's perceptions on what makes a nerd nerdy. And if that wasn't enough nerdy things for you to count, then let me just tell you about all the cameos that have been in the show so far. So Bill Nye, the science guy, Stephen Hawking, George Takei, Carrie Fisher, and Marvel legend.
Yeah.
Are you Stan Lee?
Oh, damn.
Hi, I'm Penny. This is my friend Sheldon.
We're not friends at the moment. Depends on how this goes.
Right. Anyway, Sheldon here is a huge fan of yours, and he was supposed to meet you the other day at the comic book store, but he kind of ended up in jail.
I see. And you thought you'd just come over to my house uninvited?
You said we were invited.
Oh, no. I said I'm inviting you to come with me to Stan Lee's house.
Stan Lee is no stranger to a cameo. He's appeared in every Marvel film to date.
Looking for.
Larry King.
Larry!
Did it work? I thought he'd be taller. Can I have my shoe back? I am so fired.
Look at Mr. Smiles over here.
You like art?
Where's your
Eggshell shear.
The bartenders are all like, yeah, crazy stupid.
Here's something of a lucky charm for a superhero film to do really well. Take no Fantastic Four. He does deserve some credit, however. He did create the majority of Marvel's biggest names, the likes of Iron Man and Captain America. Without him, we wouldn't have even the TV shows, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Agent Carter, to name a few. These shows are important, apparently, as they demonstrate the popularity of superhero films within the mainstream TV. They expand on the popularity of the films without making people feel lost in the continuity. Each show stands on its own, and if you don't believe me, just look on Tumblr. I mean, there's loads of stuff on there to show that people care about them. But Marvel aren't the only ones creating TV content. Rival comic book publisher DC has also got its foot in TV. They create the shows Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and even Gotham, which is basically CSI. Admittedly, DC's show seems to be a lot better than Marvel's, as Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really did struggle in its first season, but apparently it's picking up in season 2 and 3. In 2015, Marvel teamed up with online streaming service Netflix to bring even more adult content to the internet. And I didn't mean porn, that sounded like I meant porn. Not porn. Daredevil was first, and then it was soon followed by Jessica Jones, and they've both been greenlit for a season 2 and possible season 3. These shows are perfect for the generation who watch all their TV on their tablets and their phones. Netflix has grown in popularity recently, and these shows just prove that. As you can probably tell, these shows are hardly being classed as nerdy anymore because of just the sheer amount of people that actually watch them. More people watch Big Bang Theory than have ever watched Friends. And now I'm going to pass over to my anime expert, Peter, because I don't know anything about anime.
How do you turn this bloody thing off? It's not even Japanese, it's Swedish. I suppose that's a good example of how Eastern culture is affecting the West. Over here in the UK, anime has only really just started gaining popularity with their weird, freakishly big eyes and their funny dress sense.
Are you ready for this? That's what we're here to find out, right?
How does he even keep his hair to look like that? When I brush my hair, it only stays looking brushed for 2 hours. And him, whatever that is, he can get that up for at least an entire series. That's Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way. An anime about a children's card game which started in Japan in 1996, I believe. The manga of it, which, for you non-weebs over there, manga is essentially the comic book version of anime. So the books that came before the shows. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Started in a magazine called Shonen Jump. And I would just like to say now, I apologise if I butcher the words. My Japanese isn't exactly up to scratch. Let's start with probably one of the most popular animes here in the West, Shingeki no Kyojin. Or as us in the West know it as, Attack on Titan. See, despite its cartoonish looks, not all anime is about friendship and family or believing in the heart of the cards. Some animes are aimed at a slightly older audience, much like Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is about a post-apocalyptic world where giants, or titans, have taken over the world, and by doing so, eaten pretty much all of mankind. And what's left of them have decided to hide behind some big walls. Although, spoiler alert, doesn't work. And poor Eren Yeager watches as his mother gets turned into some fine jelly. The boy then does what any reasonable human being would do, joins the military and decides to take revenge on every Titan he encounters. Obviously. Oh, cut to interview. What anime have you watched?
I've seen quite a few, but I've still got like a massive backlog. But I think the most recent anime I've been recently catching up on is the recent episodes of Dragon Ball Super.
But hey, let's not let the small screen get all of the attention though. A lot of prominent Eastern films have come over to the West and is enjoyed by pretty much everyone. Possibly the biggest studio for making these great anime films is Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli. Getting pronunciation's not my strong suit here. They were responsible for films such as Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, and My Neighbor Totoro. The last of which has become so influential, it's even made its way into Hollywood films.
Right around the corner? It's right around the corner! I go to college! Look at me! I'm big toy on campus. Hello!
Hey, I'll see you at the Zaka.
Okay, Potsy.
Oh, hey, listen. If any of you guys ever get to Sunnyside Daycare, you tell them Woody made it home.
You came from Sunnyside?
These films, directed by Miyazaki, have become instant classics, and many of them have been regarded as some of the best films of all time, let alone best animations. Next time, we discuss the impact of video games on YouTube.
But till next time, good night.
Good night.
So professional.
Yep.
KFC?
Sure. Just saying, I don't think they might be going to think of any of that, but whatever.
Oh, we done it.
We finished.